Jihangir was Hürrem Sultan's last child, an invalid. But it is quite possible that he was not the only one. It is known that the sultaness had another boy, Abdullah, who did not survive childhood. He was Hürrem's third born, after Mehmed and Mihrimah. Perhaps he too had some kind of pathology like the one Jihangir had. But in this video, we'll take apart the illness of her youngest shehzadeh. Jihangir was born with a congenital pathology. He had spinal dysraphism, as our modern medics would say. This pathology is now seen even on ultrasound. But then there was no ultrasound. As you have already understood, the defect appeared in utero in Jihangir, that is, when he was not born, was a tiny embryo. For some reason, his development was abnormal. Perhaps it was the peculiarities of the genetics of Hürrem herself. Certain mutations in the genes of the parents have been proven to increase the risk of such a pathology in the child, even nowadays. The cause could be a lack of an important trace element in the food, folic acid in vegetables, legumes and other foods. Of course, there were no problems with food in the harem, especially for the sultans. However, you yourself understand, pregnant women sometimes just do not want to eat a certain food. Intrauterine malformations in children are more common the older the woman is, as her eggs also age and can give such diseased offspring. Hürrem was not more than 30 years old at the time of Jihangir's pregnancy. The congenital anomaly of the spine and spinal cord gave rise to the phenomenon of kyphoscoliosis. The real Jihangir might have looked about the same as we were shown in the Magnificent Century. But it was not only a visual flaw. The back problems caused severe pain. They also caused problems with the urinary system and intestines. In general, they negatively affected the entire body. Of course, it was not the fact that Jihangir was completely sick, because his father, Sultan Suleiman, still entrusted him to rule the Sanjak of Aleppo, a very important province of the Ottoman Empire. Of course, no one considered Jihangir as a potential sultan, nevertheless, he was entrusted with an important state post. Jihangir was very educated, like other shehzadeh and sultans, wrote poetry himself and even had his own harem. It is also known that he had his own favorite in the harem, but there is no information about his children. It is likely that Jihangir had no children. Jihangir died at the age of 23 because of his own illness, and not because he was homesick for Shehzad Mustafa, who was executed by his father, as the legend has it. What do you know about Jihangir? I would be glad to hear your comments. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the Secrets of the East channel. I have many more interesting stories for you.